Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video that I can't wait to watch. It's called 15 Things You Didn't Know About Sweden. And it's perfect because I don't really know much about Sweden, so I really want to know more about it. I know that it's obviously a Scandinavian country. It's up in the really up north. And if I understood things correctly, I think it's like a bunch of like, there's like a lot of like different bridges, and it's like interconnected because it's actually like a lot of like different little like tiny islands connected, and that's probably like one of the only things I know. Maybe it's gonna be surprising to me and I'm gonna be like, oh, I knew that, but I just couldn't remember, you know, actual facts about this country. But let's check it out and comment, like, and subscribe.
This is Travel Tuesdays. Every Tuesday we present you with another incredible country.
That's true.
Today we're looking at 15 things you didn't know about Sweden. Welcome to alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. Hello Aluxers, welcome back to a new video brought to you by our team here at alux.com. Today we're talking about a very fascinating country that literally embodies the Scandinavian dream. That, of course, is the Kingdom of Sweden. With a population of less than 10 million people, Sweden is the third largest country in the European Union, based on its territory. It is still officially a kingdom, although the royal family has a mostly symbolic power in the state.
That's usually
although most people know it for being the land of Vikings in the past, we have to thank Sweden for many innovative inventions, and frankly, a very sustainable lifestyle as an example. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Alux. We hope you'll enjoy and learn new things from this 15 Things You Didn't Know About Sweden video. Number 1. Swedes pay a lot of taxes. Sweden is notorious for having one of the highest tax rates in the world, which would normally be considered bad, especially in the US. The current tax rate is 51.4% of the GDP, and the country uses a progressive income tax rating system. For example, if you earn more than $72,543 per year, 31% goes to income tax, and your employer also has to pay 25% for social fees. However, Swedes love this about their country so much so that a tax is called a skatt, which means treasure in Swedish. That is because they receive free education, including 0 university taxes and healthcare, since 27% of taxes are invested in these areas.
You don't mind paying it.
Police and the military get only 5%, while 42% goes to social security.
I think that that's the biggest difference, because I think in other, I'm gonna put in the example of other places in Europe because they're not a good example, but in other countries when they'll tell you like, oh, it's like you have to pay a 30% tax over your salary, and it's like, oh my god, you're gonna have a heart attack. But it's like, no, you don't mind paying it, and they actually think it's a treasure. Yes, because you're getting all those things back in like the form of like healthcare, a good education, you know, you don't have to pay for college. So it is like, it goes to show like how when taxes are like properly managed and invested back into the population, you don't actually care about paying like, oh, it's fine, like I'll pay it happily because I'm getting the benefits. And of course, if that's also like coming from my salary, it means I don't have to pay it out of pocket. So even though my salary is gonna be like less than I was expecting, because I'm actually gonna spend less money on things, you know, like college, education, you know, transport or whatever, healthcare or other things that are covered by, you know, by this. So it goes to show, again, good management goes a long way.
Number 2. Swedish fathers get a lot of days off for parental leave.
How much?
Having a child is stressful enough, and a lot of that stress is finding time off work to care for a newborn. Not to mention that normally, government policies favor maternity leave, meaning that new fathers usually get to spend less time with the children. Well, certainly the Swedish government thinks that this is not okay. Sweden is also a big promoter of gender equality and currently gives 480 days off work to new parents that can split it however they like to care for their child. Actually, the country was the first to allow families to divide the leave, and 390 days of that are subsidized with taxpayer money.
Wow.
Number 3. Stockholm is one of the greenest cities in the world.
Like ecologically?
Sweden is big on ecology. So big,
that's good.
in fact, that its capital, Stockholm, was the first to receive the European Green Capital Award, which is given by the European Union. It also means that the capital is one of the cleanest cities worldwide, giving us an example of what real sustainable living looks like. For example, these buses are fueled with methane from sewage systems instead of oil, and the recycling rate of the whole city is around 90%. There are also a lot of parks, and they've even managed to redevelop an area that was once a toxic industrial site called Hammarby Sjöstad. It now has more than 25,000 people living there who use car sharing, live in green buildings, and benefit from high-tech waste management systems. It's also said that Stockholm will cease using fossil fuel by 2050. Number 4. Sweden is a world leader in terms of innovation. You wouldn't know it today, but Sweden used to be one of the poorest countries in Europe just 100 years ago. It all changed when the country started investing heavily in its infrastructure and, of course, in its people.
How did it get the money?
Sweden has less than 10 million people, but ranks among the highest in terms of global innovation. The stable political climate, high-quality education, and promotion of creative ideas has given the world quite a few successful companies.
Oh, the Nobel Prize is on there, right?
Electrolux, Skype, Spotify, IKEA, just to name a few of the world-famous businesses that are Swedish.
A lot of companies are Swedish.
The country is literally driving world innovation, and we want to know what they'll come up with next.
Yeah.
Number 5. The H&M magnate is the richest person in Sweden with a net worth of $16.4 billion. Everyone knows H&M, but few people know the company is actually Swedish. The first store was opened in 1947 by Erling Persson and since became a global fashion empire. Erling's son, Stefan, is now Sweden's richest person with a net worth of $16.4 billion as of 2018. He's now the chairman of H&M, lives in Stockholm, and has founded the Mentor Foundation, a non-profit that helps young people who are struggling with substance abuse issues. The Perssons like to keep business in the family, since his son, Carl Johan, has taken over as the CEO of H&M in 2009. Number 6. Sweden lost out on an $85 billion deal with Norway. Sweden has a great economy and is one of the happiest countries in the world. However, its neighbor, Norway, is way better off, and it's all thanks to the oil.
It's not a competition.
Norway is insanely rich because of its oil and gas resources, which make up 22% of the country's GDP. It is, of course, one of the highest in the world. But in the 1970s, they had mostly no idea how much oil they actually had and proposed an agreement that went like this. They would give oil concessions to Sweden in exchange for lumber and 40% of Volvo, the biggest Swedish company at the time. Volvo shareholders, however, rejected the proposal in 1979, and the deal fell through big time. That same deal would have been worth $85 billion today.
I don't know what I would have done.
Volvo sold in 2014 for just $1.5 billion.
Oh no.
Number 7. The Nobel Prize for Literature is in jeopardy.
Why?
Each year, the prestigious Swedish Academy awards the highly coveted Nobel Prize to the most valuable scientists, writers, economists, and great thinkers of the world. It has had its series of controversial events in the past, but this year they will not award a Nobel Prize for Literature since a shocking scandal has taken over the Academy. It turns out that several women have accused Jean-Claude Arnault, a photographer and husband of a Swedish Academy member, of sexual assault. What's more, he abused his status several times in the past to reveal the names of Nobel Prize winners prior to the official announcement. The permanent secretary, Sarah Danius, has even resigned from her position following the scandal. It seems that Arnault is no stranger to controversy. In 2006, he reportedly groped Swedish Crown Princess Victoria at a formal event, according to some news publications.
What a charming man.
Number 8. Drinking alcohol is highly regulated by the Swedish government. This is something that most people find shocking about Sweden.
Yes.
It's a free country in all respects.
I was going to say, because they want their people to be like very, like, you know, we want to control everyone and we want everyone on their best behavior. Is that it? Because I would think it's the opposite. If it's regulated, people are going to go wild.
It has rules in place that promote certain behaviors for its citizens. In the 19th century, it was legal to make your own alcohol at home, and apparently Swedes drank a lot. So much so that moderate societies started to appear, and nowadays you can actually buy alcohol in supermarkets. Well, only drinks that contain 3.5% alcohol at most. So if you want to throw a party, you would normally go to a Systembolaget, the state-owned liquor store. Oh, and you can't purchase it if you're not 20 years old. As a consequence, Systembolaget is one of the world's biggest buyers of spirits and other alcoholic beverages. Number 9.
That's
Sweden and Finland fight over where Santa Claus lives. On a lighter note, did you know that Santa Claus lives in Sweden? Or
in the North Pole?
Finland? Believe it or not, this is a debate that the two countries have, and the results are inconclusive. That is because Lapland, the magical northern territory of the Northern Lights, amazing sights and reindeer, is actually divided between the northern parts of both countries. Finland also has the Santa Claus Village, which you can find Santa's main post office and other attractions.
Oh, okay, that's
but
also
according
my
to Swedish researchers, it makes more sense for Santa to be in Sweden. The geography department at the Swedish University has used satellite images to calculate what would be the mean center of the global population. Based on that, a Swedish town called Jokkmokk would be the best location for gift distribution purposes.
Okay.
Number 10. IKEA is the world's most profitable furniture company.
I would say the most famous one as well.
Don't lie. You definitely have a piece of furniture in your home that you've assembled yourself, and most likely it's an IKEA product.
What would you lie about?
The company was founded by then 17-year-old Ingvar Kamprad in 1947 and has won over the world with its Scandinavian chic designs. In 2016 alone, the company had a revenue of 35 billion euro, or $41 billion. Kamprad was also the richest Swedish person and probably the richest in the country's history as well, with an estimated net worth of $58 billion before his death in January of 2018. Want to find out some more about IKEA? We've got you covered, Aluxers. Make sure to watch our 15 Things You Didn't Know About IKEA video. Number 11. Swedes invented a green fitness craze. Swedish people enjoy working out in nature and saving the environment, so it was only a matter of time before this happened. Apparently, what you have to do is jog, but also pick up litter on your way, and it's called plogging. The trend has even started to spread to other countries as well. Ploggers use the hashtag plogging on Instagram to promote this new type of workout. Apparently, they have succeeded in gathering communities of people all over the world that are committed to having a cleaner environment. So maybe next time you put on your running shoes, you might want to pick up that annoying plastic bottle.
Yeah, but it's always like for a good cause. Well, the good cause is cleaner.
Number 2. Sweden's national food obsessions are not so Swedish. Another thing that Sweden is known for is its relative openness to receive and integrate immigrants. Swedes enjoy fika, a tradition that says you should take at least one break period per day to enjoy coffee and eating Swedish meatballs for lunch. However, the meatball recipe has come under scrutiny lately, since they are, well, not so Swedish. The recipe was brought from Turkey, which was then known as the Ottoman Empire in the 18th century by King Charles XII. It was subsequently integrated in with the local cuisine along with a taste for really strong coffee. The president of the Turkish Corporation for Coordination Agency went on to say that IKEA should not sell the famous meatballs as if they were a Swedish dish.
But it is, they're famous for it.
Number 13. It's illegal to spank children in Sweden.
That's good, actually.
A pretty worrying statistic says that 80% of Americans have admitted to hitting their young children, according to CNN. In fact, it's not quite illegal to punish children in that manner at all in the US. There are two camps, the one that's against corporal punishment and the one that says it's okay to spank children from time to time.
It's never okay.
Sweden, however, was the first country to ban this type of punishment, considering it abuse. Nowadays, Swedish parents rarely hit children in any way, and their example has been followed by around 30 countries. Schools are also places where corporal punishment is prohibited, and it really seems to be working out great for them.
Absolutely
the whole philosophy is that children should be disciplined gently. Hitting will only break trust between child and carer, and that will lead to long-term negative effects such as behavioral problems.
A preschool or some other
Number 14.
Institution, like
ABBA is Sweden's most beloved export. At the height of their fame, ABBA was second only to car maker Volvo as the biggest Swedish export. The band was so famous that it sold around 500 million records and were the biggest best-selling artists for the non-English-speaking world. As Swedes,
Okay, they're
this
so
is a
famous.
huge deal since they topped the charts in the 70s in the UK,
Sort of.
Ireland, Canada, and of course the US. And apparently what makes this band still insanely popular is the fact they're relatable, sweet lyrics, and music that was inspired by Swedish folk songs and
Yeah, because the
bands
music
like
is good,
the
I
Beatles and the
guess.
Beach Boys. What's more, the four members have decided to reunite after a 35-year hiatus and will release new music in December 2018.
Okay, that's good.
Number 15. The 3-point seatbelt is a Swedish invention.
Oh.
We have a lot to thank Sweden for. ABBA, Skype, Spotify, the pacemaker,
lot
HIV
of things.
tracker, and of course, the seatbelt. We take it for granted, but back in the day, it
Absolutely
wasn't a
take it for
requirement
granted.
for cars, or at least it was less efficient during collisions. Safety engineer Nies Bolin was working in 1959 for carmaker Volvo when he invented the
1959.
3-point V-shaped seatbelt that is specially created to protect people during an accident. Thankfully, Volvo had made an open patent, which means that every car manufacturer had the right to
How
use
were
the
seatbelts
design free
before
of charge.
this?
Make no mistake, every car in the world uses it nowadays, and it
Yes,
probably has saved
standard.
around 1 million lives so far, according to Britain's Royal Society for the Prevention of
A lot of people.
Accidents. Now that was all for today, Alexers, but before you go, we're curious to know what you think. Does free education lead to a more innovative society like Sweden has? Please leave your answer in the
I
comments.
would say yes, but
And
I
as
don't
a
know.
thank
What
you,
do I
as
know?
always, for sticking with us until the end, we have another fascinating bonus fact about Sweden just for you. Number 16. Sweden has to import trash. Sweden
What?
has a garbage problem, and it's not what you think. In fact, Sweden has run out of trash for recycling, and so has to ask for help from other countries to power its recycling plants. So, how did they end up with this situation?
This is like a humble
It turns
brag.
out they are so environmentally conscious, they have a pretty heavy taxation system for fossil fuels and powers
Okay.
half of its electricity from renewable materials. Since other countries like the UK have bans on landfills,
Okay.
they prefer to send it to Sweden instead of paying the fine for garbage. But at the end of the
It's a
day,
good
their
solution.
recycling system is so good, they will surely be the first country to stop using oil products and welcome the new era of cleaner energy sources. Hopefully, we'll
God.
learn from them sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxer. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss a video. If you want more, we handpicked these videos you might enjoy, or head over to alux.com for the best in fine living content on the planet. Be a part of the largest community of luxury enthusiasts in the world and tell your story.
Okay, this is crazy. I feel like I've learned a lot about Sweden as a country. I think the last sort of like point was very funny to me. It's like, okay, it sounds like such a like humble brag thing. Oh, I don't have enough trash. Can you please give me yours? It's like, I'm so green, I'm so clean that I need like my machine that actually takes care of like recycling and trash cannot run properly because I don't have enough plastic. Can you please like give me your plastic? It's obviously, I'm saying that it's a joke, but actually like not really. It's such a like huge humble brag to say, I don't have enough trash, like can you please give it to me? But it's not like in a bad way. It's like, yes, of course, why would you say no? It's a good thing at the end of the day, but it is like, okay, yes, you're so perfect. Yes, of course you don't have any trash, and of course you're gonna be like the first country to like ban, well, not ban, I think just plain like where don't you really use like oil but like gas and stuff like in our system, society, whatever, oil products, you know, products to buy the you know that are made from oil or something of the sort, whatever. It's like, we're gonna be like so incredibly green. It's like, okay, well, yes, again, good for them. It's like, I'm a little jealous actually. It's like, I'm speaking from a place of jealousy because it's like, oh my god, that's so good, that's awesome. So it's like, okay, yeah, sure, you're great at it. No, but it's incredible. I think one of those things that I wanna look up. It's the seatbelt situation. I'm trying to remember because it was I think if I'm remembering correctly, 1950s. It was when the guy invented like the 3-point seatbelt, and it is on one end, of course, that's standard in this day and age, and like this is like you take it for granted because like all cars have them, and again they've had it for a pretty long time. It's not like a new invention. I like the fact that he was like, I'm not gonna pan and I'm gonna earn money. I don't know if he earned money, but he was like, I'm gonna do this for like the well-being, because I'm gonna actually like save a lot of lives, because the experiments have shown that using a seatbelt is gonna make things safer, and driving safer. So on one hand, he was like, I'm gonna do it for like the good of the the good of the human race, which kudos to him, incredible guy. But I'm like, what do the people use then? Before this, I'm trying to think, like, do people use actually seatbelts? I don't think they use seatbelts. Especially earlier cars, like the 1930s. I don't think they used those, but like, weren't those around by the 1950s or 40s? Maybe it was just like a one thing that you put like in your hips, like an airplane sort of like seatbelt. Maybe it was like that. I don't know. I want to look it up because it makes me super curious to know what they were using back then. Or it was like, no, before the 1960s, 1970s, it wasn't. Seatbelts weren't a thing, and people were just hanging around in their cars, just like crazily moving around. Not that you move around insanely without your seatbelt, but it like cars back in the day were a crazy thing. It's illegal to spank children. I absolutely agree with this 100%. I don't think children should be spanked. I don't think that violence is the answer. Like, a child is not going to learn you're just gonna learn anything because you spank them or you hit them. Like, they're not gonna learn, they're not gonna behave better. No, it's gonna actually be counteractive, and probably they are gonna end up acting up more, because it's like it was an act of violence. It's crazy that to think of like the statistics of like in the United States, Americans have again, statistically, like around 80% of Americans have actually like hit their kids at one point in their lives with. I think it's a crazy amount. It's like, wow, I would love to again look at the data and see like how the actual like it was like older parents, newer parents, just whatever parent. I would like to know, because I think in newer years that has grown a little bit, that has changed a little bit. People, I think, are a little bit more cautious and conscious about this, but I don't think you can actually make this a law, like an actual law, for in the country. I don't think that could ever be a thing in the United States, just because of the simple thing of, again, the United States is very up, like, oh, our freedom and my freedom, and you can't take away my freedom. And they're gonna see it as you're taking away my rights. And it's like, you're right, the right to like hit a kid. But I think a lot of people would actually feel that way. So it is kind of crazy to me that when I was watching it, I was like, I think that could never be done, like that kind of law. And that apparently like 30 other countries followed. Like, that could never, I don't think that's ever going to happen in the US, because again, it's like people are going to be like in such an uproar of like, no, it's my right, it's my constitutional right to do as I please. And it's like, okay, that involves hitting kids apparently. And it's like, well, it's up to your discretion. Like, if you want to hit your kid, well, no one's going to stop you. Like, legally we can't do anything. But it's kind of crazy that I think like it would never happen in the US. The whole like the whole walking, running, whatever it is, like you're walking or whatever, but you're like picking up the trash as well. I did not know that was a Swedish thing, because I've seen it. It's been popular, I think, in the past like few years, especially I think around in beaches. Like, people do it around in beaches. They just like go for a run or a walk in the beach, and they'll just like get together, usually on the weekends. And they'll pick up the trash, which I think is obviously a good thing for society. I also see them done in like hikes when you're in a mountain, which people, again, the rule of thumb should be you shouldn't leave your trash like loitering around. Like, you should definitely, if you have stuff that you have to throw away, like bring them with you and like actually like take them, dispose them in a trash can like a normal person. Do not contaminate the environment. But I know that not everyone's like that super conscious about it, and it's actually a sad thing. So it makes me sad that actually people, we as people have to actually pick up the trash of like other people, because they're not that conscious. But it's like, well, I'm doing it not for you, I'm doing it because of the environment. And it's also crazy is that if Sweden, which is like apparently like the greenest country in Europe, they got like awards. They are on the track of being like the greenest country, I think, not even in Europe, in just the world, the actual, all the countries. Even they deal with this, and they're like, no, we actually invented something, because people still like loiter and they're littering. And it's like, okay, well, if Sweden cannot manage to teach, their citizens not to throw away their trash in the city, what hope do we have, other countries, other societies? Because it's crazy that even them, with their own set of like incredible, whatever they have done to actually get to this point, they still, like the citizens, like they still have to clean up other people's trash, which I think it's kind of like sad to me. It speaks a lot about the human race, actually. It's like, come on, do not do that, please. Like, do not litter. The whole like meatballs and the IKEA was actually very funny. I don't really know much about Swedish like food, and I think probably the only thing I know, it's probably, I think they eat like herring or something, and the IKEA meatballs. I think they're like the only two like Swedish foods that I know. So it's crazy. And they were like, no, it's not. Their meatballs are not. They're not Swedish, which is like, this is the most like one of the most, I don't know, like characteristics of Swedish, like of when I think of like, oh, IKEA, I think of like obviously furniture and the meatballs, and when I think of like Sweden in general, I think of IKEA, and also I think of meatballs. So it is kind of crazy to me that they're like, no, they're actually Turkish, which is like, well, okay, yes, I get that. A lot of countries have like particular, not just food, sometimes there's like different things, but especially food, that if some countries, like maybe they don't have to be close, like this is the case, like Sweden and Turkey are not that close. But sometimes it happens, and one country actually like, oh, we made it popular, like it originated here, but then someone brought it to that other country and they made some adjustments, and now both countries claim it. So it is kind of crazy that, wow, it's Turkey, but also I don't think they're the same. Like if you're eating like a turkey like meatball, like a Turkish meatball, is not gonna taste the same as a Swedish meatball, because everyone like has their own particularities. And again, the IKEA meatballs are not gonna taste the same as a meatball in any other Swedish restaurant. So it is kind of funny that they're like trying to get rid of it outside and saying like, no, that's not Swedish. It's like, maybe we wasn't born being Swedish, but it's now a Swedish thing. Like, get over it. I'm sorry. It is a very Swedish thing, and I don't know why they should not be proud of it. It's like, again, it's a variation. Why would you own it? Like, own it and say, yes, it's our version of a meatball, and it's the Swedish way. It's a Swedish meatball, which is different from a Turkish meatball. So I'm like, no, do not do that. It's very Swedish. But I think I really love all those things. Quite sad about the whole like oil situation apparently with Norway, and actually, not the money, but they won in the end. Like they just, sometimes you lose and sometimes you win some, and they actually like they won having Santa is Swedish, so a win for them. But that was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.